Welcome, everyone. My name is Joe Frade with Liquid Courage PDX, and we are here having a dose of Liquid Courage. Today's Liquid Courage of the day is brought to you by Duan out of Boston. We are having his Domo Arigato, which is a mixture of sesame oil, lime, mezcal, and ginger beer. I will put that recipe on the notes for this podcast. And I am here with Eduardo Belaunzaran. He's one of the owners of Wahaka Mezcal. And he does a lot of amazing things for advocating for mezcal. They do reforestation projects, a lot of education all across the country. And it's just a pleasure to have him as part of our community here in Portland. So I'll have you and say a little bit about your brand.
Of course. Yeah. But first,
Yeah, salud.
Cheers, man. Oh, man, this is fantastic.
Yeah, a little Liquid Courage.
Wow, incredible. And your friend is talented, and you are really talented too, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think I will be coming more often.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you very much for your kind introduction. In Oaxaca Mezcal, we are a single village mezcal and a single master distiller. We are not buying the mezcal to somebody else and putting it in our brand. We own all the process. We own the agaves, we own the process, we own the exportation, the importation, and the sale. So we are a 100% Mexican company, and we came in United States in 2010 to present our mezcal. I think we have 11 presentations, and they are so different between one another. And I'm pretty sure today we will talk about all these new mezcal categories, etc. So we can go inside of those. And I really appreciate that you invite me here more with this beautiful cocktail. I love cocktails. Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. My pleasure. I feel like most people are probably more familiar with tequila. So for all you guys who are new to the mezcal world, it's an agave spirit, right? Agaves are a succulent, not a cactus. And in Mexico, there's 200 different variety of agaves. About 40 of them have been known to produce the sugars needed to distill into a spirit like tequila or mezcal.
Man, I'm working in the other 160.
Yeah. As soon as we can figure those out, we'll have more options. There's also a lot of varieties that produce mezcal, and we won't get into those today. We might do that on another podcast. Maybe.
Okay, fair, yeah.
But the main thing that we're talking about today is the new regulations on mezcal. We recently did a seminar on the new NOMs that are taking place this April. So there's a lot of new things to look for about mezcal. And if you are confused about how mezcal worked before, this might help you get a little bit more clarification on it, or it might just make you more confused. So we'll start with...
Let's try to make clear.
Yeah, we'll try to make it more clear.
Yes.
But let's start with just, talking a little bit about... there's 3 new categories of mezcal.
Yeah, but I think we need to talk about first, Joe, about how mezcal take in 1994
right.
All the regulations of the tequila, and they make a copycat. Totally, in this moment was appropriate, but was totally inappropriate because tequila and mezcal, we are like a water and salt, or water and oil. We are totally different. Except the only thing that we have in common with the wonderful drink that is tequila also is the agave. But the way that we made the agaves that we have, they are totally different. So in 1994, we copy these rules. So we have only 3 different varieties of mezcal, and we also have 2 different types: 100% agave, and we have also mixtos. So the good news, one of the good news of the new law that we're talking about before is not perfect, is with the new NOM 2016. That they will start in a few days, we don't have any more mixtos. So agave will be always, mezcal will be always 100% agave.
Yeah, and just to clarify what you were saying, with tequila, it's only made from one type of agave, the Blue Weber variety, and then it has a lot of different categories. With mezcal, there's a ton of categories and a lot of different mezcals before. And it was very hard to classify them into the same type of process that they were using for tequila. So it's very good to see that now the mezcal has its own regulation, and it's going to clarify things a lot more.
Yeah, so you want to hear something funny is mezcal we can use in any kind of agave that we find in our backyard. They have enough, as you said,
Right.
sugar for making mezcal. But in the old NOM, they just register 5 different kinds of agave.
Right.
Even if the industry was using another ones, they was in legally only we can use in 5 different agaves. They was the agaves they was coming from this region, so it was totally ridiculous. Now we can use in any agave that we growing in our lands.
One thing I like to say about mezcal is that you can't talk about mezcal without talking about the people that create the mezcal. Mezcal is a very cultural spirit. A lot of little single villages have their own processes and their own history of making mezcal, which is why I feel this new regulation is great because it focuses more on the production methods of the mezcal rather than trying to classify it into different categories. The first production method we're going to talk about is mezcal industrial, which is something you got to watch out for.
Yeah, and I will extend a little bit about this category. In the 40s, when the tequila needs some help for bring some agave spirit, they helped to create this industry of the mezcal in Wahaka, where was not industry, Joe. So what they did is buy to all the producers, the father of my partner in business, who is my producer right now, to buy all these mezcals and they mix all together, and the only way that you can make something drinkable was mix it with caramel.
Wow.
So they was really killed your big brothers or your parents or my parents when they went in college and they have these bottles of mezcal with a beautiful worm inside, and they drink, and man, the hangover was so horrible that they say, I will never drink mezcal in my life.
Right.
That's right. So this is the mezcal, the industrial mezcal. But be sure, man. Let me tell you something. Was not the worm, was the caramel that was super bad. What's happened when you drink caramel? That right. So this is the mezcal industrial that right now they are trying to evolve in the same way that the market. So you see a lot of brands industrial. They hide the name. They don't want to say the people they are industrial, but they are industrial, and you know. Some people will like it, what they do, because the price will be cheaper, because the methods. And also, well, when you in your bar, you want to make $3 margaritas, you can totally use it. And between you and me, I prefer they using this industrial agave firm that they use in wild agaves for make their things. So, for make $3 margaritas. So, mezcal industrial certainly is a big part of the economy of the state that I made my mezcal, that is Wahaka, because they create a lot of jobs and they make a product that the market is asking for.
Right.
Personally, I don't drink it. But I will not care if you or somebody else drink it. I will never stop you to drink those. They are part of the economy. They create employees. And if you don't care, go ahead and drink it.
Yeah, and so you make a good point. In the past, before regulations on tequila as well, a lot of people used to associate the spirit with a huge hangover or a really bad experience. And over time, regulations help clarify and create these great brands that create now great tequilas and great spirits. This new regulation is going to help to do the same thing with mezcal, because in a lot of ways, the differences between the categories is more about how it's roasted, how the agave is grinded up, and then how it's fermented. And when it comes to industrial mezcal, a lot of mezcals now are going to come into the U.S. that aren't going to say industrial on it. They're just going to say mezcal. And so what you got to really look for is which category you're really getting, because some of these industrial categories might be focusing on maybe not using the best agaves, or maybe trying to cheapening the process so that it can be more inexpensive and easier to use in a cocktail. And some brands might be great at making their industrial mezcals, but there's definitely a lot more things being used, like diffusers, and losing a little bit of the history of how to make mezcal.
So roasting, they will be totally different. They will use in autoclaves, but they can use in the pit, but they don't work for them because they're looking for volume. That's right. The fermentation will be totally different because they will add yeast.
Yeah.
You know, when you know very well that the artisanal and ancestral mezcal, they let the plant bring their own yeast by itself. So it's beautiful. It's part of the big flavor and the tradition.
Right.
And also is in the fermentation they using steel. You know, like the big companies,
pots
exactly, bigger ones, and we don't using those in artisanal and ancestral, and they totally will change the flavor. The distillation also will be totally different. The methods of bottling and selling, they will be totally different. So you will have a cheap product, and again, it's okay. I don't want you using a great product for make a $3 cocktail.
Right.
Right, but if you like to drink $3 cocktail, I'm okay with that. You know,
Right.
I will again. I don't like the people to tell you what to drink and what do not drink, because also these create employees, and these people deserve these employees in Mexico. That right? We don't want it. The people lost their jobs.
Right. And the mezcal industry definitely creates a lot of jobs for farmers in Mexico. The type of mezcal that they're used to making is more the artisanal mezcal. Wahaka being one of those artisanal mezcals, uses more of the classic methods of a tahona or using the big bats. It's a little bit harder on the farmers, and it takes a lot more time. But tell us more about an artisanal mezcal.
Of course. Well, artisanal mezcal, let's go start with the roast. The roast we can use in two different methods. One of the methods that we can use is the method of the pit. So we make a hole, we put river stones, and we put wood inside. We will put fire in the wood, and as soon the stones are red as a fire, and the fire is soft, you will put most of the previous fermentation on the top, for avoid that the pineapples are born with the direct contact with the hot stones. So you will put these your pineapples, that is the heart of the agave, on the top of that, and you will close it with a tarp, that right? And put some, you will ground it, totally grounded your peat, and you will leave it there for 4, 5, 6, 5 days. It depends on the recipe of the master distiller, and also depends on the temperature outside and the temperature inside. You can see the master distiller put their hand inside for see if the pineapple is ready. When the pineapple is ready, they will be easy to take it. You know, it's like you have a cheese, a beautiful feta or something like that. That means you break the pH and all the sugars came together.
Nice.
So this is the first part,
and it's beautiful to watch, and it's such a cultural and such a spiritual experience for even the villages. So I will show some pictures of that as part of the podcast as well.
It's another method than some places they still using for tradition. That is just thinking is like a 2 houses floor. Okay, in the first floor you will have your fire, and in the second floor all the smoke of the fire will go. Okay, so in the second floor you put your pineapples, your agave pineapples, and with the smoke of this fire you will roast it. It's not very popular, but some places in Mexico they're using this method. So this is another method too that's allowed for the artisanal mezcal. Obviously, when we talk artisanal and ancestral, we talk about short batches. When we talk about industrial, we talk about big batches. So this is totally the difference. I don't want to do too little because I need to make money, so it's industrial. I don't care to do little, but I want quality. This is artisanal and ancestral. So the next step will be the milling.
Right.
So we mill in 2 different ways, or several ways, and it's a lot of ways to mill mezcal right now in the artisanal method. So one of the first one that we use in Oaxaca mezcal and is most popular in Oaxaca is the tahona. The tahona is a mile. It's an Egyptian stone. It's a method that Spaniards bring in Mexico, that you have a big stone moved by a horse or a donkey, turn around and rolling on the top of the agave. First of all, you need to start with the machete. Okay, this is one method. The other methods, you have something that we call the bat, that will be in a cement hole, and you will bat your product till the agave is ready. And you have another one that we will call tajona, canoa. Canoa is a method and it's very similar in pound about the vat than we're using in the first method, but you heat on the top of a wood, and this wood look like as a canoe. So it's for that they call it like canoa.
Yeah.
So as soon your product is milled, you need to understand that the size of your millet, of the way that you mill your agave, they will change your fermentation time. More largest pieces you have, less time you will have your mezcal ready. But also the flavor will be changed totally on that. So
it's a lot of work sometimes for the people.
Oh man, they
batch are
totally
pretty heavy.
Yes.
Yeah.
You affect. This is a very old method, and you don't have to do it anymore. But some brands do it because tradition.
Yeah, and it's an art.
It's an art, exactly. But depends how much you do. When you try to do a lot, you can affect the health of your people because you have 2 or 3 people doing the same job for hours. So what will happen after years? You know, you need to have a new employees, and sometimes these employees are the most affected people because they are not the owners of the palenque. They don't have any education. They come in for a very poor places of Mexico. So affected also their health. I don't think is fair. So I always invite to the brands to go to the tajona as a method of work and avoid this kind of method, except if they will using a little batch, and the owner of the brand is doing it.
Yeah, right.
Non-employee,
And,
right?
and that's where the term workhorse comes in, right? They usually use a donkey or a horse to move the
Exactly.
around. Yeah.
The next step will be the fermentation. Okay. Also, I need to add something very important that in artisanal mezcal now, a lot of brands they are allowed to using something that we call the desgarradora. That is a machine. They help you to mill your agave. The Karwinskis, for example, they are very hard to mill, even in Tajona and Machete. So a lot of brands they using these desgarradoras when they make their mezcal, and some people say the flavor will change, or some people say no. I try in the 2 ways. The 2 ways are wonderful. So I will not say with the desgarradoras the product will be better or not better. Yeah. Certainly the flavor will be different, and it's up to you and to me to say what you prefer. But sometimes the people even don't know about that.
And then there's
Desgarradora.
Desgarradora basically means shredder, right?
Yes, it's a shredding
process.
It's like you have it here in Northwest or in other countries when you when a trees fall down, you're using this kind of machine. It's exactly the same principle. Yeah. And finally, we will go into the distill, and there we have several other methods to do it. So, in the artisanal way, we have 3 different methods essentially. So the first one is the cooper. The cooper comes from the Spaniards, and well, the 2 methods principles come from the Spaniards for the different ways. I will talk to you about it. So we have this first method that is the Egyptian distiller. It's a scooper. We need 2 because the temperature and also the condenser is only 1. So you need to go 2 times, put your product 2 times for make your distillation. And yes, you say it very well, we need to put the mosto inside of the first distillation.
Right.
Your alcohol will get in out around 3 ABV, 30 ABV, 30, 40 ABV. And in the second distillation is when your alcohol will get very, very high. So you will have puntas y colas, heads and tails. My brand is carved points and tails. We only using the heart of the mezcal. But other people like to keep a little bit of colas, of heads or colas. It's depend on what you like it or not. You just need to be very careful with methanols because it's cooper. Then legally you have to go to 35 to 55 for finish your product, and I can put it in a bottle and sell it to you. Okay, but you can go in Wahaka or in any place that make mezcal, and some master distillers will give you a shot of 60, 65.
Which I heard is actually a little tastier, right?
It's good. It's good. It's just so different, man. It's I hear a lot of friends of me, they cannot drink that anymore because they drink too much. They say, no, man, I just don't like it. I like the different flavors, so different taste. So in the Mexican law, we believe, and it's for that is pushed like this, like the minimum they really don't care, but they put it in 35th, like for via mezcal, and the maximum that is allowed in Mexico is 55 ABV. Right. So in any other alcohol that is legal in Mexico, you can go forward to 55. But as I tell you, in the ranchos, in palenques where they make the mezcal, you can go a little forward and you can try it, but they will never be in a bottle and sell it to the public.
That's part of the art of visiting Mexico and Oaxaca and getting to try the single village mezcal.
Totally. And so we have another 2 methods to make mezcal. So we also have the second method I will call the Philippine oven. This Philippine oven, this is not coming from Oaxaca, or they don't coming from the Europe. They come from the China, from the chip from China. So this chip from China, they stopped in Philippines. We was talking about Philippines. They was under domination from the Spaniards for a long time. So these guys, these sellers, they know how to use in these Philippine ovens that is, as you know, is a hole. So you make a hole as like you make your pizza oven. It's exactly the same. So they came from the now of China, and they before to come in Spain, they stopped in the coast of Mexico. So I can tell you something. With the Mexicans, we meet before the Spaniards these Philippine ovens. Wow. So in this coast of Pacific Ocean, they bring this and say, let's go drink something. So they build these ovens and they start to make mezcal with that. When you roast in a Philippine oven, your mezcal will be ready in one heat. Why? Wow. Because the temperature is higher, and also they're using normally 2 condensators. And these 2 condensators help to have your mezcal in only one heat. In several parts of Mexico, as Puebla, for example, and places of the coast, we're using this kind of oven. That is a Philippine oven. And finally, we have the clay. The clay is a fantastic oven, and they come in after. Because when the Spaniards was dominate Mexico several times in this 300 years period, they decide that the people don't have to right to make mezcal. Right. So when
it's kind of like
when you say a Mexican to do know something, you can be more than sure that maybe they will do it. Obviously, when it's something that they don't affect to other people. Right. But in the alcohol business, when you make this mezcal and the police or the militaries in this time or the people in charge of enforce the law discover that you make mezcal, they destroy your distillers. Right. So it was not nice when they destroy your Philippine or your copper oven because they are very expensive and they're very difficult to find it. Right. So the Mexicans find an idea. Let's go distilling clay. So they start distilling clay. This is the third way that we can distill mezcal. The clay have a different parts also. So you can have a kind of combination between clay and copper and clay and wood, or you can have all in clay, etc., etc. We will see in the next category that is the ancestral. So that is the distillation in Oaxaca, Mexico, and in Oaxaca, my brand, we're using copper 2 times, and we finish with the product. We're using clay only for party or a special product. I think we are planning to make an ancestral very soon, so we will using a clay at this time. But the clay, I don't know if I say it before or not, the clay is, the capacity of production is shorter. So I think this is the spirit of the next category that will be the ancestral.
Right. And yeah, so with the next category, ancestral mezcal, you really have to stick to the old cultural ways of making it, right? So a lot of the roast and even the roast and the milling have to be done by hand. I'll let you speak a little bit more about that.
Well, we can use in Tajona for the ancestral. What we cannot use in is desgarradoras at all. So yes, we noticed that when using methods by hand as bat or canoe, you affect the health of your employees. Except you using little batches and you let them rest for a long time. That scared that when you will have an ancestral and you will sell it in a market as the United States or Mexico, for they really is a business, you need to make too much. So that will make a lot of employees doing, because when you are doing like this with 20 kilos stuff, man, you cannot do it with only one man. You need 2 or 3 people. They make turns of 10, 15 minutes. When they start, they're using 10, 15 minutes. When they finish, just 5 minutes at the end, you know, and change the other one. And when you do that day after day after day, they affect your health. But the third category, that is ancestral, is born to be the top of the shelf, but I think is in the spirit to make short batches.
Right.
Is that right? So I think we need to keep this spirit to just to bring to the market 100 bottles of these beautiful ancestrals and close it there. You know, you cannot be milliardaire with the mezcal or the agave, man. It's what I say to the other producer. This is a business that will keep you poor as me for the rest of your life, but it's something that you do as a passion.
Right, it's a passion.
You are passion.
Well, and with an ancestral mezcal, I think we're going to probably have a hard time finding it, because more brands are going to do a little less of it. Like you're saying, it's going to be more small batched.
I wish, Joe.
Yeah.
What's happened if I buy 100 or make 100 or 200 clay distillers? I can make a lot, man. If I have 100 employees giving with the back, I can make a lot too. So yes, the spirit is make a little batches, but I really don't know if we really can do that. But I really hope we will be able to do that. So the process will be in peat, the roasting, the milling. As I told you, they can be Tahona or by hand. The fermentation, they have to be an open bath, and the distillation can be they have to be in clay, but the clay has to be 100% clay. So you cannot use in copper in the base, they have to be clay also.
Yeah. Well, just to recap, we've been talking about the new mezcal regulations, and there's 3 categories. You know, we've been talking about mezcal artesanal, mezcal ancestral, but there's also subcategories within those 3 categories. And a lot of them really have to do with the way in which the final distilled product can be finished. So with this one, we start, the first category would be a blanco.
A blanco joven.
Blanco
That's
joven.
right. So remember that mezcal is as a wine. Each grape gives you different flavor. Each agave will give you big different flavor between each another. So most of the brands, we try to bring you this flavor on the top. So most of the mezcals will be joven or blanco.
And then, so that's what most people are used to. When it comes right out the still, that would be the blanco or the joven. The next one would be madurado en vidrio, which means matured in glass.
Yes, and it's a new category, and it's very fun the way that they start. Let me take 2 seconds for tell you a story. You know, we Mexicans, we love drama. Well, they love drama. I don't like drama. Well, the truth is, we all love a drama.
Yeah, telenovela every once in a while.
Yes, it's not bad. So I make a mezcal, and I really love it, and I will call my neighbors, and I will talk to my family, and I will say, "Vieja, the day that I will die, I want you to drink that with all my friends and family, and I will be sure that nobody touch it, so I will ground it." And 5 or 6 or more time after, you will say some smart ass, they will knock in your door, and they say, "Hey, hello, how are you? You don't have this kind of mezcal and everybody..."
Or somebody comes along and says, "Hey, I heard about a mezcal from 6 years
Well, normally
ago."
each one, we have the same in our family, so we keep something for the people cheer. So it's very common. So they will knock the door and say, "Hey, I'm ready to buy this product from you." So the guy will say, "Obviously, I will sell it to you. I need the money right now, and I will make something better for the day I will die." So it's like this, like the madurado en vidrio born. And remember, agave spirit is not a rum or is not a whiskey. It not move everywhere else. But when it's madurado en vidrio, will be, the rules say they have to stay for 1 year in a dark place with no change of temperature. Okay, so what will happen with the flavor is you will have a very bold an established flavor. So instead to have a beautiful mezcal, they go like this normally, the blancos. You will have a mezcal, they go establish the flavors like that. Very bold and they will keep it for a long time in your mouth. It's delicious. It's really good.
Yeah,
it's really good.
And like you mentioned, it's very much like wine. You know, a lot of people go and put their wines in the cellars and they hide them away for years. And maybe it doesn't change so much like wine, but the madurado en vidrio is basically that kind of mentality of finding something really unique and putting it away.
Of course.
While,
if the wine have a natural yeast, certainly will mature or maybe die your wine. Mezcal, you can keep it forever. The only thing they hurt the mezcal is the sun.
The sun, yeah.
It's the only thing. The temperature, the sun, they will heat or they will change your mezcal. But the rest of man, you can put it away for years or centuries and you will have a beautiful product at the end. So the mezcal don't move anymore as soon as it's distilled.
And then, so the next two categories are very much like tequila. We're talking about reposado and an añejo.
Exactly. Well, in Oaxaca, following the tradition of the tequila, we use in barrels. And the spirit of this law is that you can use in your local barrels because, as you know very well, mezcal is not only made in a little town. So we don't have a mezcal town. Like you have a tequila town or we don't have a cognac or a champagne region. No, mezcal is a group of states. They are far away one of each other. It's a large part of the territory. Then what we try to do is protect the world. So when you compare Oaxaca with San Luis Potosí, that is a very different environment, ecosystem, people, languages, etc. Than the way they make mezcal is totally different. Okay, so when we will have a reposado or an añejo, that's right, you can use in the wood that you want. Normally we use in oak because it's the most popular and most easy way to make maybe it's the wood that make it more different. Your alcohol, they give you more flavor, etc. As you know very well in rum.
Very much, you know, unlike tequila that has to use American oak. You know, there's a million varieties of agaves that you can make mezcal with. So this gives the ability to become more of a local spirit, right? It allows you to use a local wood other than just American oak.
Exactly.
To create a rusted spirit.
The spirit of the law is that you using your local stuff. Then you don't need to go far away to get something for your mezcal. Then you know, don't do it culturally because some of the big thing of the mezcal is that mezcal is culture, is tradition. So in each part of the places that we make mezcal is a tradition. So the spirit of this law is that you can use it for reposado is 2 months to 1 year, and for añejo is more than 1 year. You use in your local wood, but also you can use in a wood that is, because it's tradition, maybe using oak. That's right. So you can use in oak.
That's very much like the Oaxaca we have here. That's a reposado.
Exactly.
Well, right?
The reposado is 6 months in oak, but also I put worms inside of the barrel.
Which that takes us pretty much into our next category, which is the avocado, right?
Avocado, yes. When we talk about avocado, a lot of people always thinking about avocado. And we were not doing an guacamole with that. No, it's not this kind of avocado. Yeah. We write avocado with B. And in Spanish means boca a boca.
Yeah.
That means it's everything that we add to our mezcals outside of the distiller. That's right. So when I put worms in the barrel, forgive these the flavor of the worm, what I'm doing is an avocado. And you have right now a lot of brands they using sugar cane, coffee, syrup for give another personality to their mezcal.
Yeah.
But we hadn't been obligated in the past and forced to put whatever we add to mezcal. But now with the new law, that again the spirit of the new law is be clear, be transparent, give information. Now, I will have to say in my sticker here, for example, reposado and avocado con gusano.
Right.
So the brands have to say avocado with syrup, avocado with coffee, avocado with this or that, when they have when they add a flavor for give another personality.
So not to be confused with an avocado. In Mexico, the Latin word, or in Spanish, it would be aguacate would be avocado, and we're talking more about avocado in Spanish as in from mouth to mouth. And in simpler terms, I would even put it more as almost like an infusion. It means that your spirit has some type of added flavoring, whether it's through the warm or, like you were saying,
coffee, sugar, syrup, agave syrup, or whatever they want to add. You have these beautiful flavors of cream or chocolate or cacao or whatever they want to do for that. It's okay, it's a mezcal for each one. But now we need to tell. We need to tell the people what you are drinking.
Yeah, and people really want to know the process and what is in it. Another one of the, this kind of leads us into our last category, which one of the most popular, the pechugas.
And this is another culture. I spend a lot of time talking with the people about where they come in the name of pechuga. Because pechuga, you know very well, that means chicken or turkey breast.
Right.
But they don't understand that when we start using the name pechuga was before the people or with the people, with a lot of people they don't speak Spanish, they related the name pechuga to the party, because in these days of party you eat pechuga. That's right? Was a chicken breast or chicken turkey was a party day, but the people when they hear the name pechuga they didn't relate it to the plate they was eating. They related about the fiesta. So these mezcals was asking to by the organizer to say, it's the wedding of my daughter.
Yeah.
My father just died yesterday, so I will not give you a regular mezcal to the people. I want something special. So you will ask me, okay, well, let's go do it with rabbit. And I will say, no, brother, rabbit, my extra neighbor just got rabbit last week for the wedding, and I don't want the same. I want something different. What about that and that and that? So we have right now vegan pechugas, we have botanical pechugas, we have meat pechugas. And when I talk about meat, man, I want about pork, goose, iguana, rabbit, whatever you thinking the master distiller can make it.
You mentioned one being made with raccoon at some
point.
Oh yes,
yes,
which in Spanish
possum. A friend of me just to make a possum one, and it's delicious, man. It's just a question what you have in hand, what is in your local tradition, and made it. But the rule is they have to be in the distill. So mezcal is here, fire is here, and product is here. So you will turn it on the fire, and with the steam, with the steam of this mezcal, you will roast the product that is here, and all the juice of this beautiful product will fall down in the mezcal, and you will create a revolution, and at the end of this revolution, you will have your product finished, and that is what we call destilado con. More friendly, the people will call it that pechuga, because it's the way that the people normally use as a name, pechuga.
And so that's the normal misconception where people hear the name pechuga and it translates directly into breast, chicken breast, turkey breast. So they assume that it's being made with only turkey breast. Whereas now the new regulations will definitely make it clear that this is done during the distillation process, and that it's made with more than just chicken breast, or it doesn't have to include chicken breast, but include a lot of flavors, botanicals, very much in the same way that they do with gin, where it's a steam process.
Exactly.
Correct?
Yes. Well, we have a beautiful mezcal gin, So I think you can use in juniper if you want, whatever is in your hand, in your local place, and you can make your pechuga. I know in Puebla some people add mole to the juice, and it's delicious, man.
Yeah, definitely. So, tell us about the good things that are coming from this new regulation.
Okay, well, something that I have to put my hat away, man, chapeau, is we were working for years in this industry with a laws that was not accurate to the mezcal. Only we can use in 5 different varieties when we are really working with 40. We only have Joven Reposado and Añejo. We are not tequila, and you see how they goes now. And in the past, we have the right to make most mixtos when. Why we have to make mixtos when we are in mezcal? Tequila, I think they make a beautiful mixto, so we can leave it there. So we are regulated, and we are able now to give the good information to the professionals of the industry as you, or to the people they are in the other side of the bar and ask what I am drinking. That is certainly the most beautiful part of this law, is the clarity and the spirit to make little batches, and the spirit also to offer you the best of each agave in your glass.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely the most important part, because we're in a generation now where everybody's really concerned and worried about what they're putting in their body. And this new regulation makes it very clear what the spirit you're drinking is made of. It's it's included in the distilling process, whether it was made in the ancestral way, the new artisanal ways, or whether it's just kind of more of an industrial product. There is also a lot of talk that the new regulation is not perfect.
It is not. It is not.
How are some of these ways in which it is not perfect?
Well, it's not perfect. Nothing is perfect.
Right.
Yeah, but something that we are not taking care of our employees, the health of the employees. A lot of methods that most the ancestral mezcal will using, we will hurt physically our employees. So we are not taking care of that part. We are not taking care of the wild agaves. Mm-hmm. That means that people are still using widely, mm-hmm, with no knowledge. We don't take care of the respect of the age of each agave. I don't think we have in the mezcal world right now problem with quiotes and bat friendly, but we will have in the future, because we are not taking care of that. Mm-hmm. So I think where we really miss our goal in this new NOM is in the preservation of the new of the wild agaves, mm-hmm, in not enforce law that protect our employees to hard work and give them the security that they deserve.
Right. Well,
so the reforestation, mm-hmm, and wise use of the agaves is something that they should be.
Yeah, and like you're just to like what you mentioned about the quiotes, unlike tequila, where a lot of their piñas and their agaves are cloned, and they have this big, almost like sustainability down now, where they're trying to replant, and not every brand does, but some of them do a good job at harvesting their agaves, using all the waste to let the ground rest, and then harvest new ones. With mezcal, that hasn't really been addressed this much, and there's still there's not the need yet to clone a lot of agaves.
Yeah, we don't have to do it right now in the world of in the world of mezcal yet, but we will happen if we are not pay attention to that. The bat friendly is really good for the tequila. I think it will be a really nice. They can put that in their NOM. Mm-hmm. But in our world, where agaves are coyote friendly, yeah, snake friendly, because they're in the nature, they're outside, and even if you want, there's so many agaves out there that you cannot control the quiotes. But certainly, we need to respect these agaves. We need to take it when it's the moment to take it. Mm-hmm. We need to control the quantity of people that come into this business, because we have the more and more brands coming, and they coming with one batch. They discover they are not ready to make mezcal. There is not the business they want to, and they disappear. But they already kill behind them a lot of agaves, and nobody's reforesting. So we are thinking that reforest, be sustainable, have to be something that have to come in the next revision of the NOM. As you know, in Wahaka Mezcal we have 3 reforestation a year, mm-hmm, and then the agave lives so many years before to be ready to make mezcal, right, that I will never see in my lifetime what I am reforesting right now.
Right.
So I hope you can come in with us to reforest with us. We have 3 reforestation a year. One for the students of the school, so we give them access to our greenhouse. They take the little baby agaves and they bring it in the mountains, for they know where is their future, and they take consideration about the sustainability. We have the second reforestation with our employees for the same reason, and we have finally a reforestation with the professionals from the industry. And you know what is fantastic, Joe, is these guys are paying. They are really volunteers. They paying with their own money their tickets for coming help us to reforest the mountains with these wild agaves. So I'm very humble and appreciative of these people spending their own money to come with us for reforest. That means giving back to the earth what you're drinking, right?
Yeah, and like I said, I think that it's impossible to talk about mezcal without talking about the people behind it, because in a lot of ways, mezcal is really history in a glass. You know, all these agaves take years to mature before you can turn them into mezcal or tequila, and you know, I think that's the biggest takeaway, that this new regulation is helping to make the process transparent, but you don't really get to see the culture and the actual process until you're down in Mexico. You know, so all these bartenders and all these people that are going down there to experience what real agave culture is all about is something that is like we're saying, an art, because being able to go down there, reforest the plant that maybe takes 15, 20, 35 years in some cases to grow, it's unreal to think of being able to try that spirit 35 years from now. Sometimes, like you're saying, in some cases, it's not even for you, it's for your children.
Exactly. You know, and most of the time, yes. So each time that I drink a glass of Oaxaca Mezcal Tepestate, that I know in these mountains they take 30 years for me ready, man, I need to thinking what I was drinking. And so the education is coming behind all these spirits. We are drinking alcohol in the same way that 400 years ago, and this is the magic of the mezcal. And we need to respect that, and we need to give respect. And so I invite to these new entrepreneurs, they come in Mexico with some dollars and they want to open their own brand of mezcal. Please do it and keep doing, and reforest and be sustainable and bring us beautiful spirits like a lot of people are doing right now.
Well, Eduardo, thank you so much for your time and for everything you do for the mezcal world, for you know, being part of our community here in Portland. And just to remind everybody, we're going to give everybody another chance to attend one of our mezcal seminars at the new Teyote Mezcaleria here in Portland. It just opened, and it's got an amazing selection of mezcals. It's in the Alberta neighborhood, and
the first mezcaleria in Portland.
First mezcaleria
in Oregon.
Yeah. And I think probably one of the best mezcalerias in the West Coast. It's got a huge selection, amazing patio. It was designed by artists, and they really share that spirit of artistry when it comes to mezcal. Okay. So there's also other great resources out there, like Emma Jensen's book on mezcal. It's got a lot of insight into the culture behind mezcal, but also a lot of great specific information into individual agaves, and also shares a lot of the regulations that are coming next month. So thank you so much for spending some time with us and for sharing a dose of liquid courage.
Thank you.
Salud.
And see you everybody in the 23rd, that's right?
Salud, yeah.
Salud.
April 23rd at Teote.
Cheers.